All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, my lovely fans all over the world. I thank you. I'm here again to touch a little on the issue that is on ground right now. Yeah. I made a video few days ago on this same issue, but I think what I did in that video was just to ask questions. I just asked questions. I think about three questions that I asked, and that was all. But today, I want to say one or two things. I want to throw a little light in this issue that is going on now, which is nothing but the issue of this GMO, this genetic modified whatever that is going on right now. You see, I have sat down and thought over these things with my age, my level of exposure, and my level of education. I have thought over this thing. I have taken myself aback. As much as my memory can carry me, I discovered that this is a long-term plan. It didn't just start today. And all these things are not happening accidentally. All these things have been pre-planned for a very long time. And they were being executed one after the other. Do I remember a time in this life that we heard about bird flu? That bird flu, where did it come from? And where was it going? Where was the target point of that bird flu? Your guess is as good as mine. But when they watched how the whole thing will play out, and they didn't see it happen the way they planned or that they thought it was going to happen, they were disappointed. Am I talking about bird flu? What about this one that you call HIV/AIDS? How did it come about? Let's leave that one. Another one was released. They call it Ebola. I remember that time that Nigerians were even making fun of it. They were using it to create content. They were using Ebola to create content. Even when a man was sponsored to bring that thing into Nigeria, what happened? It was a doctor and a nurse who were directly involved, had a direct contact with him, that were unalived. Apart from that, Ebola didn't have any power. They watched and they saw that it didn't give them the desired result. Another one again came up, which they called COVID-19. I was with a friend of mine, a white guy. And as we were talking, we get to that issue of COVID-19 and how COVID-19 ravaged destroyed their country, the damage that COVID-19 caused in their country. I told him that in my own country, to be very honest and candid with you, not even a single soul died by COVID-19. The guy was like, what? What are you telling me? I told him yes. Upon all the lockdown and all the distancing yourselves, covering of nose, wearing nose mask, eyes mask, ears mask, all the masks. That even people were using it to make money. He couldn't buy anybody. The guy was like, how can that be possible? He couldn't believe it. Do you know why? When he remembered, when he looked back and remembered what that COVID-19 did in his own country, he was finding it very difficult to believe what I was saying. He said, my friend, I won't lie to you. He didn't buy anybody in my country, not even a single soul. In fact, our politicians use it to play politics and use it to make money. Yes, now. Now, let me tell us something. Or rather, I want to ask, please, all this, okay, sorry, before I come to this question, let me say something quickly. I remember in those days, when I was very young, when I was growing up as a kid, our forefathers then, our ancestors then, were not taking drugs. I mean, medicines such as tablets, capsules, syrups, and all the rest of them. No. Their medicine was their food, and their food was their medicine. Herbs. Until all these huge pharmaceutical companies came up and said no. If something is not happening, going on or wrong in the life of these people, how do we sell our medicines? How do we make our money? And they used another tactics. Through their pharmacists and their medical doctors, they start telling our people that all those herbs that our forefathers were taking were wrong, they were bad, they were harmful, they were poisonous, they were this, they were that. Even they inculcated that into the head and the mind of our so-called religious leaders. They were condemning it. They said, no, is an evil spirit, is evil. You don't take all these concussions. They are evil. But these are natural herbs, which is also in the Bible. I don't want to go into all that now. Which is also in the Bible, stated in the Bible, tabulated there, stamped and sealed in the Bible. But religious leaders were busy condemning it, pushing everybody to depend on those medicines. Today, where has that kept us? Where? Now, do you now see, even the ones I may not be able to mention here, do you now see how this plan was progressing? Gradually, how it was progressing. Some time ago, I heard that that Bill Gates brought some drugs to African countries, Nigeria to be precise. You know, drugs that will be given to pregnant women, this one, that one, blah, blah, blah. What for? No, I ask, what for? Do you know that before these orthodox medicines of a thing, women were hardly barren in our lands? Women were hardly barren in our lands. There is one particular leaf that I know that we used to use in cooking soup. back home that is capable of reviving the fertility of a woman. And immediately a woman is married newly into the family, the mother-in-law, that's the mother of the man, if she's alive, or anybody that could represent the mother, will be using that leave to cook for that woman for fertility. And within weeks or months, the woman will conceive. Look at today. Our women, young women that are not yet married, are talking about fibroid. When I was growing up, in fact, I started hearing or knowing what is fibroid at my adult age. Not even as a youth. How much more as a young boy? Today, we're talking about cancer. We're talking about kidney failure. We're talking about arthritis. We're talking about this. We're talking about that. Where are we getting all these things from? Now, the whole thing now have landed on the table of GMO. Remember that before GMO, they came up with what is called fertilizer. Fertilizer came up. Our grounds, our lands were very fertile. That in my own village, you need to dig ground to put cassava stem. Dig ground, though, not to make a ridge or a hill, something like an ant hill, and pin it there. No, you would dig the ground, put the cassava stem there, cover it, and march on it. To plant a young seedling in my village in those days, you have to dig the ground like up to a foot. Put the yam seedling in there, cover it. But today, the fertility of our lands have been destroyed. What destroyed the fertility of our lands? Fertilizer. Fertilizer. Every land now in Africa where they use fertilizer for a long time cannot produce anymore on its own without the help or the assistance of a fertilizer. Now, it is no longer fertilizer. Seeing that even with that fertilizer, Africans are still surviving, it is now GMO. Which I believe, to them, this one is going to be the final straw that will break the camel's back. Why do I say so? I will explain. Excuse me. I say so because with this GMO now, if it is generally accepted, more especially Africans accept it generally, African lives are no more. You will no longer have right over your life. You can no longer be able to control yourself. You can no longer stand on your own, because for you to win a war, or the greatest weapon to win a war, is starvation. When you starve the people, you win them. They will surrender by force. Because anybody that holds your food holds your life, decides what happens to you, decides how you live, decides how you breathe, decides how you walk, decide the things you say, decide how you reason. And that's why I said that to them, it's like this one is going to be the final straw that will break the camel's back. But I thank God that I have seen that some people have started creating awareness in Nigeria, talking about it. We don't need it. This is my humble submission. Africans, we don't need GMO. We don't need it. If you are in a foreign country and you are eating it there because you don't have a choice, but in African land, we don't need it. No, we don't need it. If this GMO is accepted, bear in mind that we cannot have any seedling to plant during farming season. Now, you now have a kind of food and fruit that are not seasonal. You see them all year round. But nature made all these things to have time and season to produce. Orange have its own time to produce. Pears, pawpaw, pineapples, cassava, yam, plantain, banana. Now, when you begin to have these things all year round, where are they coming from? Are they now healthy to your system? Can you imagine what GMO corn will look like? Can you imagine what GMO pear, cassava, mango, yam, rice? Can you imagine what they will look like and what they will taste like? Please, I say it again, we don't need it. Gently, no fight, no quarrel. We don't need it. Take it, eat it, supply it to the people that need it. We don't need it. Please, we don't need it. Mr. Man that have made himself the supplier of this thing to Africa, we are begging you in the name of God. We don't need it. Americans need it more than Africans. Eat it there. Be good. Please, help us. We don't need it. We don't need any GMO food, any GMO seedlings, any GMO stuff. No, we don't need them. That's my submission. Very humble one for that matter. Please, help me share this video. Like it and comment it. Sorry for the time. I love you all. I appreciate you so well, my lovely friends. Thank you for being there for me, and stay safe because I always love you, and bye.